Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Derek, I got a fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening because Castlemania II is out. No, I didn't say Castlevania 2, this is Castlemania 2. I did a video on the previous entry, maybe last year. This is a Kaizo Super Mario World hack within the world of Castlevania, which is absolutely insane, absolutely amazing, and hard as nails. And just so you know, this was made by X-Man Gravy X, yes, that is his name, and absolutely just an amazing ROM hacker. But Castlemania 2 is just legit straight up one of my favorite things I've played in the last couple of months. I'm going to tell you why today. Before we get far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But this is Super Mario World, so you're going to have all of the physics and mechanics of that game, but it has the entirety of Castlevania wrapped amongst inside of it. It isn't just going to be Castlevania 2, there's a lot of different inspirations here from different Castlevania games, including a lot of the amazing music. But when I say this game gets hard, I 100% mean it. Now, I am not the best Kaizo player whatsoever, but I do enjoy playing the games, and I would say of all the Kaizos I play, this is definitely mid-tier difficult. It is not going to abuse you too hard, but it's also not going to hold your hand, because basically everything in this game is out to kill you. You need to have perfect jumps, perfect placement, if you ever actually want to get through even the initial level. Reading the screen, understanding where you're supposed to jump, how far you're supposed to jump, and how high you're supposed to jump is going to be the difference between life and death in this game. Because you'll see here with a well-timed duck and a well-timed jump, you can get across that chasm and not hit those spikes, but if you make even a single mistake, you're gonna die. But that's where a lot of the fun and charm comes in a Super Mario World Kaizo hack. Progress is not going to be measured in how many levels you beat in a single sitting, it's going to be measured in how many screens you can get through in that sitting. You'll probably die 100, 200, maybe even 300 times trying to get to the end of something like Castlemania 2, but that's where all the fun is, that challenge of learning the levels, understanding, be able to screen read when you've first seen it, and just try to get a little more progress in. You leave me a comment down below and you tell me Kaizo Mario ROM hacks, yay or nay, as far as whether or not you're a fan. And seeing Castlevania in the world of Super Mario World definitely works as well. Now this next couple of screens is where the game really is going to ramp up the challenge. It's not super hard to get to this area, but once you actually get inside to the water levels, it is definitely going to challenge you because you're going to have every single jump be absolutely perfect. It's teaching you that timing is absolutely paramount in a game like this, and I can't recommend enough. Make sure you don't have any latency in your controls however you play this game when you are playing it, or else you're going to maximize the difficulty to an unfair degree. But this will work on real Super Nintendo hardware, it'll work on software emulation, and it will work on Mr. FPGA as well. But you'll see here when you're actually playing the game well, when you're making progress and not dying too often, it really does feel like a very special instance of having fun with Mario, and that's why games like this really do kind of keep Mario alive. It basically just gives you the same challenge as any other Kaizo ROM hack, but it also gives you an entirely new world inside of Castlevania. And seeing the Castlevania enemies here, like the initial boss being the bat, just like you'd see in the original Castlevania, just work with the backgrounds of Dracula X here. But it's one of those things, these games just absolutely are for a certain audience. You have to want to be challenged, you want to have to be frustrated, and you want to have to actually learn every single level if you can get good at this. And I can't wait to see some speedruns come out for this as well, because I'm sure people are absolutely going to go wild with something like this game, and that is always fun. But again, I said, it's not just Castlevania on NES or even Super Nintendo. This is directly pulled from Bloodlines on Sega Genesis, so the mix-up of inspirations here is just a ton of fun as to what the game is going to show you. That jump there was definitely my fault though, but you have to be very careful of the timing in the water here. If you end up going too far below, you're going to die, because Mario is not going to be able to swim here like you would in normal games. They will definitely change up and pivot up some of the mechanics in the game as well. But this one area here, I probably died 20 times so I was actually able to get to the top, because you have to basically time out every single jump perfectly. You can't hit a single spike, and you can't get too submerged in the water. That is much easier said than done, because some of these jumps feel almost close to pixel perfect. You'll see there I hit that spike and that means I died, but these levels are fair. You just have to read the screen and be able to understand better what you need to do and what the level developer was kind of intending for you to do and signposting. But it's time for a soundtrack sample, and this is definitely not going to be the Super Mario World music you know, love, and remember, but of course it is amazing music, and I'll be right back. I mean, it's just legit fun hearing Castlevania music come over to Super Mario World with its own unique sound. And I will say some of the bosses are definitely going to challenge you as well, because they have more than 3 hit points, and you're going to have different power-ups here, either a flower power-up or that axe, which obviously is not part of Super Mario World whatsoever. That is going to be something out of Castlevania, but I would assume they use the Hammer Brothers action and code as far as that's concerned. Now, as we move on into the 3rd stage, again, the difficulty is just going to straight up ramp up, but I just love how this game looks. Sure, where the challenge is really what a Kaizo Mario hack is all about, but there is something about taking the universe of Castlevania and putting it into Mario that just absolutely lurks and is outstanding. And like I said, this is the sequel to the original ROM hack last year, so if you're into this, the original Castlemania is available as well, and I will leave a link in the description to both down below, because this is something I can't tell you enough. You're going to have a ton of fun with it if you download it. Just be prepared to suffer, but be prepared to enjoy that suffering, because again, that's what Kaizo's all about, basically challenging you and screwing you over. Because I didn't even read the screen there the first time I played through. I didn't even notice there was blocks above me. I just basically jumped to my death. Now, that was a visible Kaizo block, not an invisible one. I should have been able to see that, but I kind of thought that it was just part of the background. And that is the fun part about these games as well. Sometimes they're just going to troll you and make you take a death, and sometimes you're going to be so concerned about the bone shooting towards you that you're going to forget to actually jump at the right time and fall into the lava and kill yourself. Sometimes you realize that it's your fault that you made that mistake. Other times, just that you didn't learn the screen well enough and you need to go back in and try it time and time again. But that repetition, that challenge really is what makes these games feel so much fun. It's kind of like a bullet hell shmup, except not in the same genre. When you start to get good at them, when you start to memorize the patterns and actually improve, suddenly you feel like maybe you've learned something new to do in Super Mario World that you never thought you could do before. And as far again as Kaizo ROM hacks are concerned, this is a great place to start, because it isn't going to be so incredibly challenging it's going to kill you every single time you play it, because some of these shell jumps and re-jump ROMs out there, it doesn't matter how many times I try to practice with those, I'm never going to be good at them, and I just really can't get the hang of it. But you tell me down below, shell jumps, yay or nay, I would be curious. But as we go into this boss here, you're going to see taking Castlevania bosses and giving them that hammer from Hammer Bros. And just basically combining the 2 worlds together. And when we get to the Pit of Despair, this is when things really just start to get straight up challenging. Now, there's 8 different worlds in this ROM hack. Each one's going to be successfully more difficult and have a completely different mechanic and component to it. And I love that each level basically gives you something new to do. Here you can obviously tell you only have that little area of light, and then from there you're going to basically have to see what's ahead and move slow and have all of your jumps timed up perfectly. And this has the best bit of Castlevania soundtrack in this entire ROM hack in my opinion, so go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, but come back, I'll tell you more about how this game goes, and I'll make sure that you play it if you do nothing else today. But enjoy this music, as it's a straight up 10 out of 10 that I absolutely love. Not only is that original track in the beginning absolutely outstanding coming out of the Super Nintendo hardware, but hearing the librarian theme from Symphony of the Night coming out of Super Nintendo just works. Now, when I said I'm going to make sure you play this game, if you don't play this game for me, we're not going to be friends anymore. And even though this is the internet, all I'm trying to stress is just how much fun this game is. Just give it 5 to 10 minutes. If you hate it, then that's totally fair. Not everything is for everyone, but this is the type of game, these ROM hacks come out, and there's so many of them, sometimes they just end up not really getting to the public consciousness. But as far as Castlemania II is concerned, absolutely straight up in my opinion, a 10 out of 10, and one of the easier Kaizo ROM hacks out there to get into. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, I'm just saying you're not going to give up 60 seconds in from frustration. Just be aware that unlike Castlevania, you can't climb the stairs, you gotta jump around them. But Castlemania is just straight up fun. I love the mashup of Castlevania along with Super Mario World and the mechanics of Super Mario World with the theming and music of Castlevania. So the links down below, definitely check this one out and let me know if you've already played it what you think. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.